What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. So in today's video, what we're going to do is, number one, I want to dive into the talks of a possible $4,000 stimulus check to people on Social Security. I want to address that first. I think that's extremely important. Second thing, I want to dive into the stimulus package update, what we're hearing and how lawmakers have pretty much gone away from the American Families Plan and they are just now pushing for the Build Back Better Act. I want to address that. Going to talk about President Biden's statements as of late and also give you some daily news. So that's what we're going to go over in today's video. If you have any questions whatsoever, please ask your questions down in the comment section below. If you're having a great day so far, do me a favor, go ahead, hit that like button. I like knowing that you're having a great day, and also it does help out the channel. So let's address the $4,000 stimulus checks. Here's what's happening. Right now, many YouTubers are pretty much taking any figures they can get, right? They're taking the $3,600 child tax credits. They're taking, maybe the $800 stimulus debit cards, right? They're taking all these different payments and they're trying to compile them together to come up with different figures. And they're telling their communities that, hey, guess what? There's a new stimulus check out, but it's not true. Okay? And a lot of these communities are being told that Nancy Pelosi already voted on this. Nancy Pelosi passed the bill. And then they go into talking about this $4,000 stimulus check. There's no stimulus check. Just want to be 100% upfront with you guys. Now, I know a lot of people, get upset with me that, hey, why aren't you talking about the stimulus check? It's because there's no stimulus check. That's the problem. I would definitely talk about a stimulus check if it was on the table. But as of right now, it's not. Now, a lot of these channels and even a lot of the websites, there's even some media that are discussing the possibility of a $3,400 check plus a $600 weekly check. There's no $600 weekly check. Okay, there's no $600 weekly check coming. Just keep in mind that the $600 per week was for the expanded unemployment benefits, but that was when the pandemic first hit. Okay, we didn't see $600 for the past year. We were seeing about $300 per week. So just keep that in mind. A lot of these communities, a lot of these channels are tricking their community to believing there's a check coming. There's not. Okay, honestly, I wish there was, and I think this is wrong to be telling people that a stimulus check is coming when it's not. There's really no discussions at this time. Okay, so as I know more about what Democrats plan to do and what they actually have some support on, I will bring you that update. And if it's on a stimulus check, great. I think a lot of people need it. But at this time, I just wanted to warn you that there's also people out there that are giving you this false hope and saying that it is on the table and is coming, when in reality it's not. So hopefully you don't hate me too much for that. But again, I try to be just 100% open with you and honest what is actually out there. Okay? But here's what we do know. Democrats have pretty much gone away from the American Families Plan. Remember, the American Families Plan was that $3.5 trillion infrastructure bill that included, 4 years of the child tax credit payments, right? It expanded Medicare completely. There's a bunch of tax breaks and tax cuts. We knew there's anybody making under $400,000 per year would not have to pay a penny more in taxes, right? This was all there. There was different proposals, different ideas, how to get people to save more, invest more, and everything was going to be good. Well, according to multiple reports, instead of calling this American Families Plan, they have decided we have to stick with the name Build Back Better. So this is the Build Back Better Plan, or Build Back Better Act. And multiple aides have also said that the American Families Plan, okay, that was a bill that was supposed to be about families, but as all these different ideas, all these different proposals started being pulled from the bill, okay, no more 4 years of the child tax credit payments, that was pulled. That was supposed to go towards families. Well, what happens when all these different family plans start being pulled? Well, you can't just call it the American Plan, right? The American Families Plan now has to get a different name. So that's why they're going with the Build Back Better Act. Here's what I can also tell you. Democrats do not want to risk if they called this the American Families Plan and they're pulling all this stuff out, Democrats would risk the chance of potentially not passing a bill that is geared towards children and families. So let me just reiterate this. Let me just kind of say this a different way. Democrats are worried about passing this bill. So they're changing the name to Build Back Better, because if it's Build Back Better and Republicans go against this, guess what? Republicans are against Building Back Better. But if they go with the American Families Plan and it doesn't pass because of Democrats, because of moderates and progressives, guess what? Republicans would eat them alive. In the upcoming midterm elections, they would be telling their voters, guess what? Democrats didn't pass the American Families Plan because they don't care about families. So that's, according to reports, the reason why they've changed the name of the bill. And this could ultimately change the way the bill is actually laid out and what comes to the American people because of it. So it's not great news, but again, I'm here to give you the facts. Now, while moderate Democrats argue that this bill will only increase the national deficit, Senator Bernie Sanders, he had this to say just a short while ago. He said that the $1.2 trillion bill, which he did support, that actually, it passed and it increased the national deficit by $256 billion. So he says, let's be consistent. He says the Build Back Better plan will be fully funded. So we still haven't seen the CBO score from the Congressional Budget Office, but again, as soon as we get that, I promise, I will let you know what's in it, what it says, and I'll let you know what lawmakers are discussing after they see the score. Again, that's what most people are waiting on. And the expectation is it's going to happen sometime the middle to end of this week. So as soon as I know more there, I promise I will fill you in on the latest news and updates regarding that. Now, when it comes to the Build Back Better plan, here's what we know. Progressives are still extremely upset at the fact that Nancy Pelosi, who promised she would not move forward with the bipartisan bill, she did. She put it on the floor of the House and made progressives vote. Here's what I can tell you. According to multiple aides, the reason why progressives voted on this bill is because they didn't want to give Republicans a win by voting the bill down. Okay? They didn't want to give Republicans a win. And just to take it one step further, if Democrats would have blocked this bill, what would have happened is Republicans would have been easy for them to attack Democrats in the upcoming midterm elections, simply because, and especially during the whole next year, again, this is 1 year. We got a year from today. Republicans would have just eaten Democrats alive if they would have done that. So according to multiple aides, this is why progressives didn't have a choice. But here's something else I want to bring to your attention. And I thought this was very interesting because I think 2 progressives asked this question on Twitter. Many progressives were extremely upset with Nancy Pelosi because she told them they had to vote for this bill because they needed to provide President Biden with a win. They needed to provide him with a win. But they question, why was the bipartisan bill the first bill to be passed? Why didn't the $1.75 trillion human infrastructure bill pass? That would have provided President Biden with an even greater win. It had climate in there. And what's going on this week? Got the climate summit. So why would they pass the $1.2 trillion bill that was only going to increase the national deficit, and not the other one that would tax billionaires and it would be fully funded? That was the question. Honestly, I believe the only reason why this happened this way is because Democrats are still not sure if the Build Back Better plan is actually going to pass. They don't know if this is going to pass. Yes, it would most likely pass through the House, but the expectation is it's going to get to the Senate, and it's either going to have so many changes the House will not pass it again, or senators, specifically Joe Manchin, Kyrsten Sinema, would be too hard to negotiate with, that we would still be discussing this into 2022. But this is what we're hearing at this time. Multiple Senate Democrats have already stated that there will be multiple changes. There'll be major changes to the upcoming infrastructure bill. And here are some of the expectations. And again, these are just some of them. There's probably going to be more, but these are just the expectations at this time. The reports are more assistance to American people has to be included. It has to be included. So how are we going to get more assistance? Well, it's probably going to come from affordable housing. And the other one, according to many reports, is tax credits. We could potentially see an increase in tax credits. Guess what? We're not going to see a stimulus check. I don't see it happening. I honestly don't see it happening. There's no way Senator Joe Manchin would support an additional stimulus check. Not this time. Okay? They also want to provide work requirements for paid family leave and for the child tax credit payments. This is something that Senator Joe Manchin is firmly behind. He wants work requirements. He wants to see means testing. This has to happen. So if it does, we will see what the requirements are and if progressives are going to go for it. But again, once we see this go through the Senate, chances are it's going to come back to the House for a second round of voting. And the expectation is it's going to change too much that the representatives in the House are not going to want to pass this, or they couldn't support it either. So we'll see what happens there. We also know they want to further expand Medicare. And this is something that Senator Bernie Sanders has been trying to do. He wants to allow Medicare to negotiate with prescription drug manufacturers. This is going to lower their costs. This will allow Medicare to save money to put money aside for dental and hearing, or dental and vision, because hearing is already included. They also want to, according to reports, provide more assistance for the $150 billion to affordable housing. Okay? My guess is by providing additional assistance, it's not necessarily giving more money, going from 150 to 200 billion. It's most likely changing the language. Who's it going to go to? Maybe provide more money to rental assistance, or make it easier to actually receive. Because I asked you guys this the other day, that how many of you have actually applied for rental assistance? Many of you guys said that you did, but you're still waiting. That's pretty much been a waiting game for months. So again, we can't have that. And they also want to see the reduction of the SALT tax. This is something that it was pretty much taken off the table. It's like, okay, no SALT tax. But then Nancy Pelosi decided, we have to have this. We have to have some type of SALT tax. So that got put back into the bill. The expectation is it's still going to be in the bill, but once it gets to the Senate, we could see a reduction there because of Senator Bernie Sanders. So again, we're not done. We're not done. My expectation is we're going to be close to December before we finally get this done. We might be even into December, completely into the middle of December, possibly into January before we even see this done. So again, it's not great news, but that is what we're hearing. And as I mentioned this earlier, okay, what we have been hearing is that President Biden and the Biden administration is considering shutting down another pipeline. I bring this up for one main reason. This is going to cause many people to spend more money. If this is to happen, okay, if this is to go through, and the pipeline that they're considering shutting down, it's in Michigan, it's actually Line 5. Okay, so this would actually cause gas prices to go through the roof. Many experts have been saying that they have been warning the Biden administration for months, that we cannot do this. But it is still on the table and it's still in considerations. So as soon as we hear more on this, I promise I will fill you in on that news, because that right there is going to impact every single one of us. Now, in other news, President Biden and the White House have been very quiet as to whether or not they're actually considering giving $450,000 to illegal immigrants who crossed into the United States and were separated from their children. I receive so many questions on this every single day. I want to address this. Okay? Here's what we know. One expert says that paying somebody that came into the United States illegally and was separated from their children, that would be the equivalent, and let me get your take on this. That would be the equivalent of somebody, let's say, that convicted a crime. Let's say came into your house, burglarized your home, was convicted of a crime, had to go to prison, let's say for, a month, right? It's something very simple. Short, not really simple. Let's say they go to prison or jail for a month. What they are saying is it would be the equivalent of paying that person that burglarized your home, that went to jail for a month, if they had to be separated from their child or children, it would be the equivalent of paying them $450,000. They're saying it's just not right. there should be no reason why somebody breaks the law and we pay $450,000 to them. That's per child. But let me ask you this. What are your thoughts? Do you think this is justified? Do you think there should be no reason why the American people have to pay $450,000? Because we will have to pay that. That's coming out of our pockets. So, do you think that's right? Let me know down in the comment section below. We also know that President Biden stated that he wasn't going to give $450,000 to illegals that were separated from their children. But then he came out the next day and said that, yes, they're considering this, but it's something that they should do because those parents should be compensated for being separated from their children. And polls are indicating that right now the American people are so frustrated, not with the fact that we're potentially going to have to pay $450,000 to parents that came into this country illegally, but because these polls say that President Biden doesn't always know what is actually going on, yet he provides answers to these questions like he's being, like he understands exactly where they're coming from, which he doesn't. Then he has to come back, or somebody else has to come back and correct him. So the polls are pretty much indicating that the American people are getting fed up with President Biden giving answers to questions that he has absolutely no idea about. But again, let me ask you this. Do you see this quite a bit? And is that frustrating you? For me, it's pretty frustrating to come out here, try to provide the facts and the updates for you guys, because in most cases, I can't listen to what President Biden says, because in many cases, the White House has to come out and provide an additional statement to say exactly what is going on, to clarify what he actually said, or to give a little bit more of a, some type of details. So it's frustrating to me. I understand if it's frustrating for you as well. But that is what we know as of right now. Again, I just wanted to provide you with this quick little update, get you, up to date on what's happening right now. Let you know that those $4,000 stimulus checks, that's fake, that's false news. It's not happening. But as soon as we know more regarding a stimulus check, the upcoming infrastructure bill, what President Biden's doing, anything for Social Security, I promise I will bring you that update as soon as possible. Again, I just want to thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.